recently won the Land Cruiser Hook Award because I gave Viv some video content with illegal music on it. That caused the Zoom conference to crash. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to play my own music. So here we go. The trip started in Port Augusta. We travelled down to Port Lincoln and up along the coast to Ceduna, then north inland along the Googs Track, eventually making our way across to the Flinders Ranges. So there's some fantastic outback travel, but what really surprised us was the amount of beautiful scenery and coves such as Venus Bay, Streaky Bay, Smoky Bay, all in that space between Port Lincoln and Ceduna. So well worth the visit, and you're going to see some pictures of us all having our fill in the sand dunes.
Okay there, lad? Stink stuck. I think I'll...
Well, a funny thing happened to Vlad and Anne. They wanted to avoid that same big boggy waterhole on the way out. We all made it, and they went round a different way, but unfortunately... Googs Track was a real feature of the trip. If you don't know it, it's about 170 kilometres long. It has 370 sand dunes. So it's quite challenging, particularly when you're towing vans across it. It's a skinny track, so we end up all having lots of brush marks down the sides of the car. We took 3 days to travel the length of Googs Track. First night we stayed at Googs Lake, a very picturesque place right beside a big salt lake. Getting to the first night's camp at Googs Lake was relatively easy, but we learnt later from the rangers who were at that camp that night, they'd been up there a few times recently and they'd been dragging big tractor tyres behind their four-wheel drives to knock down all the big humps and bumps and make it easy to travel. But that was only as far as Googs Lake. The second night we camped at Mount Finke. So it's a big mountain in the middle of nowhere. We all decided to climb it and it gave magnificent panoramic views of the desert all around. When we left Mount Finke, it took us across some salt lakes to get back onto the Googs Track. So it made us a little bit apprehensive. There's been lots of rain in the outback and we're a bit worried about going through the surface of the salt lake and getting bogged. But as it turned out, it was all good. got into Mount Ive Station just as the sun was setting, and it was a magnificent sunset, as you can see. We stayed a couple of nights at Mount Ive Station, and it's a 150,000 acre sheep station. But something interesting on it is it provides access to Lake Gardner. So it's a big salt lake, and here we can see it's got a little bit of water on it. It's only a couple of centimetres deep, and by March next year it's completely dried out, and it's where they perform land speed records, and you'll see rocket cars there traversing over 1,000 kilometres an hour. We passed through Iron Knob, going between Mount Ive Station and Port Augusta. Certainly not somewhere you really want to stay. You may be wondering how some of the high altitude video footage was taken. Okay, got my breath back, here we go.